It's been a while.
It's totally been 2 months.
I think first order of business. I know, but like the last time we recorded was before Christmas, and that feels like forever ago now.
Well,
anyways,
Cyberpunk came out on the 11th. It's been February 11th right now, so it's been a while, just over 2 months.
Okay, it's been a while.
Feels like yesterday.
Look at these topics we have up here. I have bug snacks on here.
Yeah, I thought we already talked about that one.
Oh, I have more to say on it.
Oh no!
But it's just look. I have Crusader Kings up here. Like this is like 3 fads ago.
Well, let's be real here. The first one is the most important topic.
Okay, I do want to start with that because the first one, the first one's the only food-related one. I know it's the only one I see on here. I was really worried about that. I'm like, do we actually have a food topic? Because I kept telling you like we just need to record. And I didn't. But I wanted to make sure we had a food topic.
Oh, don't worry.
Okay, so tell me
any food topic off the top of my head.
But man. All right.
This food is feta cheese. And
okay, tell me about feta cheese.
Feta cheese is delicious, dude. It's just so good.
Feta cheese is really good.
It's been bad though because I've started putting it on like a lot of food. I don't know if I mentioned this before or not, but I'm putting it on my hot dogs now.
Oh yeah. That's like a normal thing.
Is it though? Like.
Yeah, is it a Greek dog? I want to say it's a Greek dog.
Because I've never heard of it for sure, but I'm like, oh man,
why do we keep doing hot dogs? How do we always end up back at hot dogs?
I mean, I have hot dogs like maybe once a week, I guess. Not that often though.
Man.
But
dude, I can't remember the last time I had a hot dog.
Well, if you do get one, put feta cheese on it. I like to also.
Is it not called a Greek dog? Hold on, I can't find it now.
I like to also toast the buns on the stove as well. And then you put some cheddar cheese on bottom. You put the hot dog on top, and then you put feta cheese and mustard on top. It's pretty good.
So normally the hot dogs aren't like, you don't have feta alone or like feta with mustard. Normally it's like Roma tomatoes with the feta with like an olive or something. It's
like
the
typical bigger Greek salad, but hot dog instead.
Yeah, it's a Greek dog.
Nah,
I'm pretty sure that's a thing. Hold on, I'm looking at a picture of all of the different kinds of hot dogs, and I'm not seeing a Greek dog now. Am I crazy? Has this never existed? I know this has existed.
Why would you want to put a salad on a hot dog anyway?
Why would you not want to put a salad on a hot dog? That sounds amazing. Oh, hey, I love that the Dodger dog made the list.
List of
That's
what?
That's a really good one for it. Of just like the different types of hot dogs. I'm looking at
All right, hang on. Before we keep going.
Yeah.
We need to stop talking about hot dogs again.
What? No. They're great.
No, really.
All right, fine. We won't talk about hot dogs.
Unless we're going to do a hot dog only podcast and become hot dog connoisseurs and travel the world tasting hot dogs. We should probably calm down a little on the hot dog talk.
Well, these reminded me of Sonoras. Can we talk about Sonoras instead?
What is that?
It's a type of hot dog.
No, we can't talk about more hot dogs.
They look really good. I've only seen pictures of them, but I don't know exactly what they are. I think it's like a hot dog taco.
Hot dog taco? No, a hot dog is a taco. What are you talking about?
Oh my! No, I know, but like a. I don't know how to put. Oh no! Hold on, I was wrong. These buns are weird though. You got to see a picture of these buns.
I'm looking at a picture. They just look ribbed. Is all. Or
I think they're more than that. It's like, I think what it is like a Kaiser roll or a croissant that's been cut in the middle, and like they cut it open like a tauntaun, and then they fill it with hot dog bits along with like a whole bunch of other stuff.
Looking at all these pictures, they have every type of hot dog bun you can imagine, all called the Sonoran hot dog. So
I'm looking up Sonora recipe.
I feel like the bun isn't the important part.
Oh, Sonoran is a style. 8 large hot dogs, thin slices of bacon, salted butter. Hold on, they're called Bolillo rolls. What is a Bolillo roll?
Tim, we're getting sidetracked. Do you see this list of topics we have to go through?
Okay. A bolillo or pan francais is a type of savory bread traditionally made in Mexico, but also made in Central America. Variation of the baguette, but shorter in length, often baked in a stone oven. That's cool. All right. Okay, no more hot dogs.
No more hot dogs. But
whoa, look at the Korean dog though. It's just so cool. It's like It's like a corn dog, but what is this? Crinkle cut fries? Oh, it's coated with French fries. Okay, so they coat this thing in French fries, the hot dog, and then they deep fry that. I don't know.
Probably some breading, I guess.
Korean dog. I would assume so. No. I don't want a dog that's from Korea. Hold on.
Yeah, a little.
Oh, now there's just a whole bunch of
Korean Chihuahua.
Yeah. No, now it's talking about Korean dog meat and how it's sold in Korea. That is not what I wanted. Okay, fine. I'm going too much down a rabbit hole with this.
You definitely are, because I can't see anything you're looking at.
I'm gonna get lost in this. Ooh, a potato. All
but
right,
speaking,
cool.
speaking of food,
yeah,
you know what I find really, really annoying? The fact that oftentimes you can't order online anymore. You can't. You have to use. You have to use apps these days to order food.
Okay, hold on. All right, he's changing the subject.
I am changing the subject, but it's food
the
related.
Change, yeah.
So
yeah.
This is a gripe that came up about a week ago, I guess. My mom was out and she wanted me to order some food like ahead of time, and so I was like, "Oh, I'll just do Raising Cane's. I haven't had that in a while." And I went to their website because I'm like, okay, we'll look up a location and we'll see if I can order online or something. But they were like, oh no, if you want to order ahead of time, get the app. And I said, no, I'm getting Chick-fil-A. So, because I already had the Chick-fil-A app downloaded instead of...
Yeah. So I was going to say, I'm like, wait a second.
Like the fact, I mean, I didn't check if Chick-fil-A lets you order online, but I had the app installed already. So I was like, this is stupid. I'm not even going to bother downloading your app. Like, I don't go there enough to justify it. So that was annoying to me.
I think this might be a bigger topic than you realize too, because, well, okay, so obviously your gripe is that people are kind of moving away from being able to actually use like just a normal web browser, and they're starting to like want to get like their proprietary apps on your phone.
Yep.
But is it also possible that modern society is just moving away from desktop PCs and laptops altogether? I've been worried about that for a while, and I've just been kind of curious because...
Yes, they've been moving away, but they're certainly not helping the situation. Like, there are people like me who are like, oh yeah, let me just type it. I don't know. Because the same thing happened to Venmo. And where I didn't have a Venmo account, but I was still able to like pay someone who requested payment in Venmo like years ago. And I'm like, oh, this is great. I don't have to make an account. I can do it all on desktop. And then the same thing happens again, like 6 months, a year later. And they're like, oh, no, you have to use the app now to do any sort of financial transactions. And to use the app, you have to have an account. And even if you have an account, you still can't do transactions in the browser on the desktop. So they literally took a feature and just removed it. And I was like,
there must be a reason for that.
If there is one, I disagree with it. I don't care what your reason is.
Well, I know. I'm not saying it's a good reason. I'm just saying it's gotta. Sorry, I'm watching my waveform as I'm talking, and it's really distracting. I gotta minimize that. This is the first time I've ever recorded with Audacity before. I mean, not with Audacity, with Audition. And it's like this cool, nice, like green background. It looks very like vapor wavy, and it's mesmerizing.
I mean, okay, I like looking at my waveform because it just keeps me focused on the podcast and not like, ooh, what's going on I need like every other website on the internet.
I need just like a blank screen in front of me. All right, it's all minimized.
A blank screen, just a mirror.
I mean, it might be a bad reason, but there's got to be a reason that they would do that, because I know what you're talking about. It all became apps a while ago, and they moved off of web browsers. Maybe web browsers are just a little more unsecure, and that's why they're doing it. I don't
know.
I know. I can't think of a good reason for it.
Yeah,
but there's got to be some reason for it, because there's obviously, I mean, you're in the minority, but your minority does exist. So why would you remove that?
Exactly. I'm demanding equal representation.
Just hop on the bandwagon.
Yep. But that's just a small gripe I had. So, took my business elsewhere.
Get it. I think it's. I mean, for Raising Cane's, I don't blame. I mean, Raising Cane's is a bigger business than.
They have.
It's not a small business.
A lot of chains, and not to mention their lines are always really long. So it was incentivized to order ahead of time, pick up, because they can have dozens of cars in their line.
Oh, totally. By the way, I found out, I think it was 11:35 on a Tuesday. I recorded it and I took pictures, although I think I got rid of the pictures by now. But Emily was like, why are you taking pictures of those cars? And I'm like, because Jacob says it's always busy. And here we are, maybe it was it 11:35? I'm pretty sure it was 11:35 in the morning. There was only 2 cars in line. I'm like, he's going to want to know the perfect time to come here.
Even in and out isn't that short. Like, once you get to 11, because I used to go on my lunch break at my old job at 10:30, which is right when In and Out opens. So I'd be there. I'd sometimes be like the second person there after opening, and like even then they would still get like 2 or 3 cars in line sometimes at like 10:30. So the fact that at 11:30, when lunch is actually starting for a lot of people, there was only 2 cars.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, geez, there's nobody here. It was, to be fair, I think it was a rainy day. I don't know. Maybe people just weren't eating chicken that day for some reason. I wanted to mention one more thing on your topic, though. The reason I mentioned Raising Cane's is because I was trying to think of a small business that I've been to, and that does not count as a small business.
Not really. But not anymore.
But I would say, like, obviously, like, for small businesses, it makes more sense. Like, a lot of people just probably do not have the know-how to set up an online ordering kind of station. But I really wish there was something like that. I think I talked about this with you a while ago about how, individual restaurants or restaurant chains like Chipotle and McDonald's and Chick-fil-A, they all have like their different apps, and it'd be nice if they didn't all have their different apps and they just had like a singular one. But I noticed, do you remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I remember. I think we talked about that for quite a while on the podcast.
Yeah. It like clutters up your phone and everything. But the reason they have them is because they can put their own, deals in front of you. They can have them right in your face.
Yep.
So that you, hopefully use them more. Then they can even send you like push notifications and stuff. But, obviously the alternative for that for smaller businesses is like Grubhub and DoorDash, because they have a pickup option in there where you can just forego a driver coming to your house and you can actually just go pick up the food from there.
Oh, really?
I used that. Yeah. And I used that a little while ago with a small little breakfast place near Emily's place. Sorry, excuse me. I used it for this little place, and I went over to go pick up the food. And I walked inside with my mask on and everything. I was like, hey, I'm here to pick up the order and stuff. She goes, oh, you're that person. So she hands me the bag. And then she looks at me and she's like, hey, just so you know, I'm adding 2 extra cookies in your bag because we do want like people coming here and we do really appreciate new customers. And I was like, oh, well, thank you. Because it was like a really small little shop and everything. Yeah. And they're like, but please don't ever use Grubhub again.
Yep. That's the story I've heard from like every single little small business that has to use third-party ordering apps.
I had no idea. They take like 35% of the purchase order. I was like, dude, that's huge.
And that's restaurants already have tight margins too.
Yeah, like they can't make any money with those things. So I made it a point to go back there like twice and specifically call them to order and stuff. But yeah, no, that was just absolutely crazy to me. So I think I guess I take back what I said about I want like one singular app to control all the other, little restaurant apps and everything.
Yeah.
Because clearly that's not the answer. Like, holy crap, that's a greedy business.
Yep.
35%.
I mean,
it's just
I don't think I've ever heard like anyone actually like anyone who has to deal with getting paid from them or like deal with them on a business level. I don't think I've ever heard nice things said about any of the food delivery apps.
Yeah, it's not good. Although, I have heard good things, or at least better things about Lyft. Not that they deliver food, but whenever I think of Lyft, I think of like Uber and Uber Eats. I don't know. Maybe there is a model to do that, but if the big, the behemoths of the world like Uber, maybe they're just too strong and they have so much money because they're doing all those seedy business practices that they could just push out the competition. I don't know.
Probably, but it's also just convenience for people. Like, are people going to go on Uber Eats, or are they going to actually look for a restaurant and then call them? Yeah, they're probably going to just use the app and like, hum and haw about what they want to eat. And
I'm just amazing they take 35% of the revenue in that order.
It's quite a bit.
That's crazy. Why not just 5%? It's a stupid app. Like, it's just, and they have millions of, I don't know. It got me really mad. So.
And then we transition into game store fronts and how much they take, and the app stores and how much they take. And
yeah, they're pretty hefty margins.
Yep.
And yeah, I don't know. I'm not even sure for a lot of small businesses it's even worth it, because actually maybe it is worth it.
The visibility is great.
I'd be curious to talk to them.
But I can guarantee you most restaurant owners are like, I wouldn't do it if like I didn't have to.
Yeah.
But I probably have to. So yeah, it's unfortunate.
Sense, man. I always forget how powerful advertising is. It's such a massive market for people. It really sucks that their margins are so little when they deal with those things, because it is great for letting people know that you exist and actually getting more orders in your door.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm going on a tangent on our tangent now.
This is too sad now.
It's very sad. We got to talk about something more happy. Can we talk about the list in front of us? Like I said, I wanted to talk about.
Which list?
The list that we're currently talking. Oh, we got to delete feta cheese over on top. Just this whole list of topics that we have in front of us. So, like you said a little while ago, we last time we recorded was 2 months ago, which I think is quite a while, and it feels like quite a while given the stuff that we have on this list. And the problem is, I don't remember why I put half of these topics on here.
Well, I remember most of mine, but I am curious though. While we're on the topic of food, what do you have to say about Christmas dinner? Because that was just yesterday, right?
Yeah, that's a perfect example of a topic I do not remember why I put it on here. Let me think. Okay, so hold on. This Christmas dinner was interesting because I cooked a roast beast for the first time. I keep calling it that because my mom loves Dr. Seuss, and they call it roast beast in the story of the Grinch stealing Christmas.
Yeah.
But yeah, a big prime rib. I cooked a huge prime rib.
Ooh.
And that's important because the day beforehand we went to a friend's house and they also had prime rib. So I had 2 prime ribs for Christmas, which was amazing.
That's
and also
good.
Very expensive. Yeah, it was amazing and wildly expensive and just the best thing ever. I think that's all I wanted to mention on it. I'm sure I had something else to say on it. I do not remember though.
Was it good?
It was amazing.
Oh,
it was incredible. Oh yeah, it was fantastic.
I mean, what else could you say about prime rib then? If it's good,
oh totally.
Then,
it was amazing. It was the first time I'd ever cooked a prime rib, and I got it from Costco, and it comes like a little pre-seasoned because there's just like stuff on top.
Yeah.
But you can't really season it too much because prime ribs are so massive that you can't actually get any seasonings on the inside. So you kind of just have to enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah. I feel like then for prime rib, you want more sauces than anything, since you can't season it during cooking and beforehand.
Oh, you are 100% correct. And I do not remember the name of the sauce that I put on the thing. I do remember it was like 90% butter and then 10% tarragon.
What is tarragon?
I'm going to Google it right now. Tarragon's an herb. What is that thing called? You need to know the name of this because I'd never had this before. It's a French sauce.
Is it like a shape? Tarragon?
What? No, it's not shape. That
was a good joke. Okay.
Gosh, dang it. It was good. It was very good. I appreciate it. What is this thing called?
French tarragon. Tarragon leaves. Savory spice.
What is the sauce?
Oh, it has a subtle licorice flavor.
In France with tarragon and lemon. Come on. Give me the sauce name. Béarnaise or Béarnaise.
How do you spell that?
I'm gonna copy paste it into the thing for you to see. Yeah, tell me how you would pronounce this. Let's see.
Well, I am a resident expert on French.
Excellent.
It's like mayonnaise, but you go Béarnaise.
I'm thinking Béarnaise. I mean, I know it has. Okay, so here's the thing. It's got that little I think it's called a glove above the E.
Sure.
But I want to pronounce that Béarnaise. Yeah. So there's aigu and there's glove.
Well, it would be like...
I'm pretty sure this one's Glove.
Béarnaise.
Oh, wait, no, this is Egu. What's the... Hold on. Emily always says Egu Glove.
Egu Glove.
Let's
see.
In
so
Egu accent,
clarified
points to the right and upward.
So butter, egg yolks, and just herbs and spices. Okay.
Dude, it is the best thing I've ever tasted. And it is the most calories in the smallest form I've ever seen in my life. The French know what they're doing. Yeah, I don't know if you've ever heard
peanut butter run for its money.
Oh my gosh, dude. This is... You just got to taste this on meat. It's cocaine. Like,
I mean, okay.
It's just the best thing ever.
Feel free to give me some.
So
I won't say no.
Oh man. Dude, I could do. Okay. Hold on. We might do. Weren't we talking about watching a movie at some point in the past? I know I mentioned what was that movie I wanted to watch with you?
There's a lot of
movie on NWA. Yeah, not Boys in the Hood.
Straight Outta Compton.
Remember that? Straight Outta Compton. Yeah. You want to watch Straight Outta Compton while having a Béarnaise sauce?
I mean, do we get to eat anything with the sauce or just the sauce?
No, it's literally just the sauce. You just gotta spoon that.
Oh god.
Oh yeah. Okay, so the prime rib itself it's good. Like, it's really, really good, but it's lacking flavor. This Béarnaise sauce is the most amazing thing ever. And I kind of get the whole, like, there's this kind of American idea about France that French people have very dainty food, like they just have small portions, and now I get it. I didn't totally understand in the past.
As to why they would have small portions. It's because it's so rich.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, because they'll take an ounce of things and put like 1 million calories into it, and they'll be like, that was really good, and then they'll just go along their way because their stomach's already full to bursting after eating like a bean. Oh my gosh, it's so good. Okay, so I gotta make that later again. That was so incredibly good, man. Yeah. It's an interesting look too, right? Like, it's I don't know. It's like a salty, savory thing with like lemon and herb in it. And just, oh man, it's incredible. Okay, so I guess that was what I wanted to talk about for Christmas. I don't really remember exactly what this topic was supposed to be, but I guess that's fine. I will say this, right up above it, I have KFC console.
Speaking of food,
I have no idea what to say. Actually, I don't know. Do you want to talk about that? Are you interested? Do you think that's a fun...
zero interest in it because it's a novelty advertising mechanism.
Yeah, all right. We can just go ahead and delete that one. I mean, if anyone's curious, KFC...
Yeah, it's self-explanatory in the name. KFC made a gaming PC.
Yep, that's it. It's a funny one. I like it. I don't know.
I mean, I don't eat enough fried chicken to justify the purchase, so...
Okay. I also have on here Crying Sons. Do you want to take a guess at what that is?
I feel like I've heard the name, but I'm gonna go with it's a way to describe rain.
That's very beautiful of you, Jacob. I appreciate your poetic spirit.
So am I right?
I had no idea. I had to actually Google it to remember what it was. It's I don't want to say not worth talking about. It's another game that I played a little while ago. I think it came out on it's an indie game. I don't remember how I got the indie game, but it's an indie game. With a very interesting system to it. It has to do with like traveling through the galaxy. Again, I don't remember why I put it on there. I don't remember it being incredible. Like, it didn't stand out to me.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So my brother-in-law was actually just showing me this game. And he said it's like kind of like Faster Than Light. Or FTL, I should say.
Yeah. A little bit, yeah.
But slightly different. So I did see a little bit of gameplay. And after he showed it to me, I'm like, oh, this is hexagonal grid-based, but it's not turn-based. It's actually real-time. So it's kind of on my radar now. I think we got it through the Humble Bundle. I
think you're right. Yeah, it's a really interesting game. I got into it a little while. I didn't really get into it. I played it for like 4 hours, but I played it for a little while because it started scratching the itch I get for just learning more sci-fi stuff. So it does a lot with like quantum entanglement, like using that for communication and such. And I just really go nuts for that stuff. Like, it was kind of filling the void that Mass Effect left inside me. So I played it for a little while, but yeah, you're exactly right. It's this hexagonal kind of grid-based combat system where the whole point of the game is you you're reincarnated. That's like the very beginning of the game. The first 2 seconds are like, hey, we brought your body back, or we brought your clone back. You haven't been alive for like 300 years, but we needed somebody who can pilot a ship to find out what's going on in the galaxy. So we just kind of brought you out of stasis to do this job because you signed a contract with the Empire. And I was like, well, actually, that's kind of a cool opening. I kind of like that. And your character is super chill with it. He's like, okay, that makes sense. I'm a clone. It was a cool way of doing it. He's just a soldier. Like, this dude is 100% just like, yeah, this is my job. This is my job. This is who I am. This is
my life now.
Yeah, so it's cool. So you're with this AI computer that supposedly you trust. I don't think they dropped any hints that you don't trust it, but it kind of looks menacing and evil. It's got like a what's the movie? Why am I not remembering the name of the movie? The movie with Neo. The hell's The Matrix. Yeah. It looks like one of the evil robots from The Matrix. You know, like the big snake arm thing with the eye on it.
I mean, I've never seen those movies before, so.
Okay, well, if you look at any pictures, they have it's like a big robotic tentacle. Like, that's kind of what
like Doc Ock.
What the whole thing looks like. Yeah. Doc Ock's probably pretty close to it. Let me see. Matrix robot. I actually haven't seen this thing in a while.
I don't think you need to look it up.
Oh yeah, you're thinking of exactly the right thing. Okay. I will say, actually, I think you'd really like looking up pictures of the Matrix robots. I think you'll find them very.
Well, I remember mentioning one time that I was like, "Oh yeah, I need to watch the Matrix movie at least once," and then you're like, "Nah, you don't need to." So I was like,
"Yeah,
okay.
I don't. I have no love for them."
I mean, I feel like I would probably enjoy them.
Yeah. I mean, probably. I think. I mean, the combat's very, very good. I thought the plot was kind of stupid, but I'm kind of a fuddy-duddy with stuff like that. Here, I want to show you this really quick. So it's like a spider octopus creature. I really like the design.
That's literally Doc Ock.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like an actual.
That's a Doc Spider.
Yeah, Doc Spider.
Doesn't flow off the tongue quite as well.
No. Anyways, yeah, the thing looks like that. So I'm assuming in Crying Sons it's going to be a bad guy, but. Oh, I have absolutely no idea. Anyways, it is a really cool game, and I can see why your brother-in-law would recommend it. It is fascinating. Okay, I guess that's.
I mean, I don't have much else to say.
No, I know. I didn't either. Again, this stuff
I'm looking at.
It's been here for a while.
So the problem I'm seeing is that we're going to be going through topics so fast, it's going to make a bad podcast.
Yeah, I kind of want to slow down with it a little bit. You know, just take our time talking about this stuff.
Yes, just
5 minutes. Can I spoil Bugsnax for you?
I mean, I don't really care about the game at all, so I'll try and give you attention when you talk about it.
I really want to talk about this because it's been sitting in my head for a while, and I'll put a spoiler warning on this for anyone who has not played Bugsnax yet. If not, if you're interested, you should go play it. It's very fascinating. It's like I remember I just watched a thing on, I think Zero Punctuation said it was something like it was like a fetishistic Pokemon game with the Muppets, which is
still not selling it to me.
No, I know, but that description doesn't fully encompass the whole thing. But it was just a very, very strange game. So the game doesn't really go anywhere. It's very one dimensional. Where what you do is you have this town, and the people are upset because the mayor of the town on this little island has gone somewhere and they don't know where. Like, she's just missing and they can't find her. So she leaves, and the town just kind of falls apart because everyone ends up hating each other. So one of the guy's wife leaves, and one of the other characters is making fun of that guy for having his wife leave him. And the reason he's making fun of him is because he used to keep some of the Bugsnax as actual pets, and the farmer guy next to him ate them. Like, he just went over to his house, like he broke in the middle of the night. He ate his pets that he'd been raising since birth.
That's tragic.
Yeah, and that it was this dark, like, weird thing. And then there's one girl who just loves to gossip, so everyone hates her. And so, like, the game is about you going around and collecting Bugsnax because the person's like, oh, like, my life would be so much better, like, if I just had this Bugsnax. So you go and find it, and then they find out that, you know, Bugsnax weren't the answer to their problems in life. It's actually, you know, the people in their life. So you bring them back, and they start, you know, developing this wonderful community, and you kind of rebuilt it from scratch and stuff to where everyone likes each other again. And then in the end of the game, 10 minutes from the ending, it turns out all the Bugsnax are evil and trying to kill you. and so you eating them is slowly turning you into a bug snack. And what happened was the mayor ate too many bug snacks and then was dragged under the ground into this weird cave system where all of the bug snacks started latching onto her to where she became this weird, horrible chimera creature that was super hideous. And then her girlfriend, she's apparently a lesbian, her girlfriend breaks in like with you to go try to save her, and then realize it's a lost cause, and she tells you, you know what, just get out. They're planning on blowing up the island and killing everyone. You just need to leave as fast as possible. And her girlfriend's like, no, like I will give away my life just to be with you. So she jumps in and allows herself to get mutated and ripped apart just to be with her girlfriend. And then you leave, and then nobody seems to care.
Tim, you do realize this rambling makes you sound absolutely insane.
Yeah, I know.
You describing that is like, wait, is he actually being serious, or is he just making this up on the spot?
I think what happened was the creator of the game, whoever originally like pitched the script, was like, hey, listen, so I had this weird dream last night, and then whatever he said was just the game that they made. Like, I think that's what happened for the creation of this game, because I can't see, there's no real point to it. I'm not sure where this idea came from. Like, it doesn't seem to be linked to anything else. It just seems to kind of exist by itself. Like, if you were to drop acid and then like play with a stuffed animal. Like, you dropped acid and you had a strawberry and you had a stuffed animal, and you didn't know what was going on, and you would just kind of come up with the story. So anyways, it ends because the whole point of the game is that you're like a reporter going to the island to try to find out what happened to the mayor. So you get off the island and you go to your boss, and you like hand him the details of what happened, and you hand him footage, and you give him all of this stuff, and he's like, wow, you're fired. And then the game ends. It was a very, very strange game.
Are you sure?
But I wanted you
just a giant acid trip. maybe that's actually what happened, and that's why you got fired. You failed the drug test at work.
Dude, maybe I didn't like 100% it. Maybe they would have showed that afterwards, because that's all I can think
of. There might
be
an alternate ending you didn't get.
That's possible. I gotta go look at stuff online to kind of see what happens. By the way, did you see what I posted in the other Discord server about Kermit the Frog?
Yes.
Okay, that was amazing.
For those who
did you not think so?
In the know, Kermit caused 9/11.
Kermit caused 9/11.
That's all you need to know.
It's actually canon. I love that they left it as canon. I thought like because I know there was another TV show where they did something with I think there was an episode of some TV show where in the episode the Twin Towers get blown up as part of like an action scene or something, or maybe it was one of the Superman movies. I don't know, but like there was this big thing about them taking it out and re-editing it because that's no longer kosher in American society. But they never did that with the Muppet Christmas movie, which is really funny. Where it shows that Kermit's the one that destroyed it. Anyways, yeah, so I wanted to explain that to you because I know you're not going to play the game. I don't expect you to. I don't even think you'd enjoy it. But I do think you would enjoy hearing about the plot line a little bit. So that was my time in Bug Snacks. I'd like to know, okay, so you have 2 games on here. I kind of want to get through some of your top topics first. You have the word stealth up here. Why did you put the word stealth?
Well, these are related to Cyberpunk.
Notes? Oh, really?
Yeah.
Should I?
I just honestly, I know we talked about it a lot last pad class. Ooh, hang on. Let me reboot. I know we talked about Cyberpunk a lot on the last podcast, but I kind of don't feel like talking about it on this one for some reason.
Yeah, we really hyped it up.
And
I spent the whole time talking about how excited I was to talk about Cyberpunk with you when it came out. And then it came out. And now I'm like, well, that was a lot of Cyberpunk. We talked about it quite a bit.
And the rest of the world has talked about it quite a bit. So it's like, oh, okay. Don't feel like I have anything to add that hasn't been said already.
Well,
for what it's worth, I did beat the game. I enjoyed it. But there was still plenty of stuff that was just disappointing.
Are you planning on going back to it?
I want to get the other endings, but honestly, I just haven't had the time to. Because I haven't been playing single player games at all. I just had the time because it was over Christmas, and I had family, so I wasn't really working. So I just beat it. But now I'm like, well, if I'm playing in the evening, I'm not going to play a single player game.
Well, okay, so I agree with you that this has all been said to death. I don't want to say anything about Cyberpunk that's already been said a million times.
Okay.
Like, ooh, yeah, it had bugs, and then they got fixed a little bit, and people are still mad. And then, oh, hey, by the way, did you hear that CDPR got hacked? Did you see that
Yeah, I heard about that.
That whole thing happen? Yeah, something about that. Some group that's trying to extort them.
It happens, but I think it's kind of
it's a bummer.
A sense of irony, just because they're like, oh yeah, check out this game we just released where you get hacked, or you can hack people, and they're like, hey guys, we got hacked.
I was seeing some whispers that there was some people who kind of assumed this is some kind of weird, what's the word for it? Like augmented reality thing. What is that thing called?
Revenge. Wait,
no,
what? I'm confused. Like an AR game?
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, like an AR kind of thing.
How?
And everyone's like, no, that's stupid. Just, I don't know. Like they're trying to save it by saying like, oh, it wasn't like bugged and like we're not actually hacked. It's actually like a, this is just for you to enjoy the game more. So I don't know. I was just hearing some weird stuff about it. Dude. It makes absolutely no sense. Do you mind if I spoil that one plot line for you, or are you still planning on going back and checking it? Because I know we mentioned it a lot, me and the other friend. The one that we found really, really offensive.
Oh. Yeah, I know. I still do want to do that one eventually.
Okay, gotcha. All right. Well, I'll keep my lips sealed on that. So Cyberpunk came out. I think the only thing I really want to say on it is I want to go play Witcher again. I really do. It was funny when Cyberpunk came out. I started hearing about a lot of people playing Witcher, and then my sister played it again, and now she's thinking about starting it again.
Holy cow, dude!
And now
she needs to stop.
She loves that game. Oh man, she loved it. Which was so crazy because she did not in the beginning. She put it on because she was like, yeah, I really liked the show. Henry Cavill's super hot. I wanted to see where it came from. So she stuck it on for like 20 minutes, hated the whole thing. She was like, I don't get the combat. I don't, these monsters are really scary and I don't think I can beat them as like a player. I don't get it. And then she stuck like 2 or 3 hours into it and she's like, I can't stop playing. Like she just played the whole thing straight through.
That's ridiculous.
Now she's working on 100%ing her save right now. Actually, she was working on 100%ing her save. And then at some point she was like, you know what? Screw this. I'm just restarting it. And we're going straight back to Tucson. That's where I'm going to live now. That's all she loves. Her and Tucson, man.
I mean, it's a pretty cool place.
For it.
It's amazing, but she won't go there.
Oh yeah, she doesn't want to go anywhere else in the game. She only wants to be in Tucson. It's hilarious. I'm like, wait, there's like other things. It was so funny. She avoided doing the Hearts of Stone expansion forever because it wasn't in Tucson. I'm like, there's a whole other DLC you haven't even played yet. And she's like, it doesn't matter. We're staying in Blood and Wine. We've got to do more.
Oh my gosh.
she was getting every single question mark on the map. She was talking to every person. And it's so funny. She got through her whole thing. She's restarting the game. And finally she's like, okay, I'm gonna try Gwent. Like she felt so defeated when she said it because she's hated it the whole time.
Dude, I still dislike it. I'm not like,
oh man,
I'm not looking to be taken out of the world to like play another game. It's like, how would you feel if they were like, hey, let's throw in Hearthstone into Cyberpunk 2077? It just
probably
I don't get it. Like, sure, it's great for the world building, how like, oh yeah, there's this game that like the people of this country play and stuff. That makes sense, but God, I don't want to have to play every single Gwent game to 100% the game.
That's so interesting. So I think this it might not totally stem from this, but having mini games in that are integral to the overall game itself, which we will talk about in a second with Yakuza, it's integral to JRPGs. That is like that's the bread and butter of JRPGs. And you kind of see that in like Kingdom Hearts with like
that game was if you want a mini game.
If you want a somewhat okay example, like the gummy ship, if you want a bad example, like the whole aerial level where you're like doing you remember in Kingdom Hearts 2, that terrible rhythm game mini game thing? Oh, it's horrible. Yeah.
Oh, and then that kind of remember stuff that one world everyone hated that they made an entire game out of?
Hold on.
What do you mean?
Wait,
hold
on. I'm trying to think about what you said. Hold on. What's the joke here? Hold on. The one world they made an entire game out of.
You don't remember? They made literally an entire Kingdom Hearts game that's a rhythm game, and it's canon. So if you want complete Kingdom Hearts experience, you have to play the really crappy rhythm game that came after Kingdom Hearts 3.
Oh yeah.
Like, that's just
that's what Kingdom Hearts does.
It's just dumb.
I mean, and I think you were too. I was already kind of feeling that when they came out with that card game in between. Where was that? Was that in between one and two?
That one was
Chain of Memories.
Chain of Memories.
Yeah, that was the first one where I'm like, I'm getting a taste of where this is going. I'm not sure I like it, and now I'm positive. I'm like, I don't.
Yeah, like
I'll probably play Kingdom Hearts 3 or 4. I mean, but yeah, I see what's going on with the series. I think
Chain of Memories, because originally they didn't have many games. They just had but between 1 and 2, I think they only released Chain of Memories or something. And so I remember though when Kingdom Hearts 2 came out, I was so disappointed because I was thinking, man, all this plot that I don't really understand what's going on because there's a game that was released that I couldn't afford to buy. And it's just, I hate it.
Yeah, I totally get it. And I don't know, I feel bad because Kingdom Hearts was a lot of Westerners' first, toe in the water for JRPG stuff. And I think that was, I don't know, Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, I really liked. Those were solid games. There are a couple flaws in there, but overall, no, this is a really enjoyable experience. I'm getting this different kind of gameplay that JRPGs are kind of known for and stuff, where you have this, kind of a system where you're selecting commands instead of just outright attacking, even though it sometimes feels like you're just attacking.
Well, yeah, and the tons of mini games and the stats and all that.
Yeah, I wish the series hadn't done what it did, because it really does just feel like a huge cash grab at this point. And I don't know, as of all the JRPGs that I enjoy, that's getting closer to the bottom of the barrel than it was when I was a kid. And that's what I'm really upset about. The Kingdom Hearts 3 made me like 1 and 2 less. And finding out that they're releasing a rhythm game on top of it's also doing kind of the same thing of wow, you don't seem to really care about what the essence of this game originally was. What we've been waiting for this whole time. You just seem to want to do whatever you want with it.
It's more like they're just oh, well, let's see. How else can we make money? Which, I mean, it's a company. They're going to try and make money, but especially now, you really feel that.
Yeah.
So it's disappointing.
Yeah. Since we're already talking about JRPGs, you mind if I just bounce onto Yakuza really quick? I don't actually want to say that much on. I know I have a lot of stuff here.
Oh wait, you deleted my 2 topics at the top.
Oh, I thought you said those were just related to Cyberpunk.
Well, they related to Cyberpunk, but they also had more general applications as well.
Oh, I'm sorry. One of them was stealth.
Yeah, one was stealth. One was choice. Choice. I didn't really have much to say. It was just more so how I hate skill checks. In video games, which one of the things in Cyberpunk, there was a lot of skill checks. There was one example where it was the Delamain quest, which is an AI run taxi cab service.
I hated that one too. I totally changed my build because of that quest.
And so your Delamain's giving you one option, and then Johnny Silverhand comes in and is like, "Hey, dude, if you do that, you're kind of a jerk. What about this other option? You should do this other option." And you're like, "Oh, great, now I have to choose." Except for the fact that the other option that came up last second from Johnny had a skill check, and I couldn't even do it. So I couldn't do the non-jerk route because of a skill check that I had no prerequisite, no forewarning of. And I'm like, it was one of those. Okay, this is actually dumb. I hate skill checks.
Yeah,
because that was poorly done.
It was it was the natural, or not the natural, but it was the kind of choice where it's well, here's bad option number 1, and here's bad option number 2, which is bad in a different way. But also, if you want to just get out of the bad options, here's the nice option. But you have to have spec'd in the right way in order to do that option, and we're not going to tell you that you should have spec'd in the right way to do that option.
Yeah,
I didn't. Okay, yeah. So it was bad. I thought that one was very, very poorly done. I don't think your gripe is necessarily with skill check though, because
no. It still kind of was for the rest of the game. Maybe it was just bad in that game, but I was thinking, man, if I had to do this in Fallout or something, a game that's also has that kind of thing, I don't want it. At least don't show me the option that I'm don't show me that I'm missing a skill check in the dialogue tree. Then just let me pretend like I can, do whatever I want.
If they had just done two things, I think it would have been better. First of all, you can only choose that option if you really spec highly in a certain way in that game. And the whole game is about like, oh yeah, be whoever you want. Be the buff guy, be the hacker, do the stealthy option and stuff. But you had to spec in a very specific way for the nice option instead of giving you like one or two different, or maybe three different ways. Being like, hey, you might have spec'd really high in this one, so there's a way to do it that way. You may have spec'd really high in this one. Like, just put it at a certain point where, you tell the player like, hey, you should get to a high enough level before you do things to make sure that you can do them properly. And I really wish they would have given you a warning before that. Like maybe mention Johnny Silverhand's option of like the nice thing. Like when you're outside of the building before you go in for the final one, like, hey, maybe you should have been like, this high in whatever in order to do this.
Like I said, just don't tell me that was an option unless I already meet the skill check. And then it's like, it's way better. Cause then I'm like, oh man, if only I like could replay the game and do it completely different or something like that. Yeah. There was, and the problem with those skill checks is that they were making me put points into stuff that I didn't really want, because I'm like, oh, well, I want to make sure I keep my body or my athleticism up high enough just so I can get by those basic skill checks that show up every once in a while, instead of like dumping them all into intelligence or whatever else I wanted to do. I'm like, oh, I got to make sure I kind of, balance myself a little bit.
It's funny. I don't think they ever meant it to be a skill check option, but it was just like the weirdest thing was the Mass Effect 3 ending. And you never played Mass Effect, right?
But I know that like there's all the endings were bad or something, and only one of them is technically canon now. Or
so they gave you three options, and the three options were: option 1, you murder every robot in the universe, and all of the humans live, like all of the organic beings.
Okay.
Option 2. You murder all of the people in the and by the way, you are a person. You murder all of them, including you, I think. I'm pretty sure it's including you. Yeah. And all of the robots live. So just murder all the people.
And then wait, there should be three options. There should be 4 options. Everyone dies and then no one dies. Oh, sorry, hang on.
Yeah. So option I'll wait.
Well, I don't really have time now. What? I don't have time to. What? I'm probably just going to have soup. But I'm not going to be eating for like another hour. All right. Sorry.
So option 1, you murder all the robots and you keep the humans alive. Option 2, you murder all the humans and keep the robots alive. Option 3 was just and again, there's no skill check for this. They just give you the third one. It's like, well, I mean, you could just have them all be friends. Like that was the third option. And everyone played it was like, what? It was they called it like a synthesis of organic and robotic. Like, so every person, so like there's just robots and humans now, but all of the humans look like cyberpunk people, and all of the robots apparently have some organic parts to them.
Peace.
Like,
why didn't we just try peace in the first place,
Yeah, it was the dumbest option.
Universe wide, so
everyone just and everyone just magically like gets like becomes a cyberpunk person. Like this is just magically happen. I don't know. It was weird.
I have a vague memory of watching a video on YouTube where it showed the 3 endings like simultaneously, and they're like colored differently, but it's like the same video in some parts.
Red, blue, green.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, ew. So I have to give credit to Cyberpunk for that in its endings where it's like actually different ones. But yeah, I don't. Skill checks, not a fan. But
I will say as a final finish with that. I was just gonna say I don't really care to talk about it too much. I did actually like the Cyberpunk ending. I did think it was pretty good.
Yeah, I like the different endings. I think they were clearly shown from the beginning of the game what your options were, and you weren't like surprised by anything for the most part.
Yeah. I do kind of. Well, I'm getting into the weeds on it. We can move on.
Well, the one other thing that got me thinking, especially near the beginning of the game, was stealth, because there is stealth in the game. And I remember I was talking to you about how I was going for like a major crit build, and I was literally headshotting people for like hundreds of thousands of HP or damage.
Oh yeah.
And it got me thinking about how I don't usually like stealth games because I find them hard to get into. But all the stealth games I've played and then like done stealth in, I always get suckered into it. So one of the best stealth games and one of the only
Metal Gear Solid, folks.
Okay, well,
is that
hang on. So one of the best
okay.
stealth games I've played, but one of the only stealth games I've actually played is Metal Gear Solid 5. But the only reason I actually got into it is because I was interested in the base management mechanic. I was like, oh man, I love being able to get resources on the field and like do stuff on my base. And it wasn't as good of a system as I wanted. I wish I could have done more on the base, but it was great to see the base grow. And then I was like, oh wait, I'm enjoying this stealth. After I started playing the game because of the base management.
Mm-hmm.
And so
that's probably a good way for them to implement it too.
Yeah.
Because stealth is a hard thing it's like, hey, I want you to play a game that has combat in it, but we don't want you to do the combat.
Yeah, avoid the combat. But yeah. So Cyberpunk was kind of the same way, because I'm like, well, I mean, I could do other stuff, but stealth is just so broken in that game. Why not do stealth? Because once you get like there was a gun that you get that's like a 50 cal. It's like one of the strongest sniper rifle in the game, but it's also silenced. Something you can't get except for that one special item. Mm-hmm. And that's just broken. And the fact that I also spec'd into revolvers and I could silence them and they hit for so much with headshots, it was just broken. And I'm like, why would you play the game any other way when you can just sneak around, not alert anyone, and one shot everyone?
That's exactly how Far Cry did it too. Far Cry always has like a silent sniper, and it's always the most OP thing in the world. And you just start walking through the game, and it's like, well, I guess every other gun's useless now. Like this is the only one worth having anymore.
Yeah, any game that has stealth and has crit headshots and stuff is just it must be such a nightmare to balance.
Oh yeah.
But it got me thinking about stealth, and that was all that was about.
Not bad. So we briefly touched on JRPGs, and I have a JRPG on here. I don't want to talk about it for a super long time, but I thought we'd get it out of the way just because we're tangentially next to the subject anyways.
Tim, so you can go ahead and talk about this game.
Thank you. Okay. So there's this game called Yakuza. Now, I've never played any of them. I don't know how many there are, but I know there's a lot. I think there's like 7. That might be how many? Hold on. How many Yakuza games are there? Yakuza series. I'm not going to look at this for any more than... and I can't even find it. Okay. I can't find it in a super quick time.
It's not important anyway.
Yeah, no, not important. There's a lot of these Yakuza games. The new one's called Yakuza Like a Dragon. I've never been interested in these before, but I was listening to someone talk about it for a little while, and I was like, okay, that sounds interesting. The idea behind the game original. Well, let me just say how it starts, because I love the opening.
Well, what is this game anyway? Like,
okay, so Yakuza. So you know what the Yakuza are?
They're like a Japanese mob or something, right?
Yeah. There's like Japanese mafia. So it's a mafia game. That's the whole kind of point to it. But it's done in a very, very, or at least this one, because apparently they're not all like this, but this one was particularly hilarious. It's done in a very silly way. So this game starts kind of like the rest of them, where you're just this little kid and you're brought in by like the big boss who's like, hey, you should come work for me, and you start your career in the Yakuza and you end up like achieving great things. This one kind of does that, but about like 2 minutes into the game, you're no longer a kid. You're an unemployed 45-year-old man who just got out of prison, has no job prospects, and now you're homeless. So, and that's how the game starts, and it's the best opening to a game I've ever had. It was so much fun. So you're homeless and you have to make money. So you're like, how can I make money? And it's like, well, you can collect cans. So there's this whole can collecting mini game where all of the other homeless people are also trying to collect cans. So you're running into them with your bicycle, trying to smash the cans off their cart so that you can become the king of cans. And so they have this little ceremony and you become the king of cans, and it's beautiful. And it's the most amazing thing.
What is on earth, dude?
Oh, dude, I'm just getting started.
I know. God. That's why I'm worried.
I'll go through these really quickly. You want me to just go through let me just go through the way I put them in here. So the first one I have on here is Sword in the Stone.
Okay.
So the whole point of the game is that you are like the hero. This guy, it makes a point to say that when you were a kid, you really enjoyed video games. And you really liked like large like RPG games where you played like the hero person. So your job technically in the game is hero, although you can change your job to, I think, what is it? You can change it to homeless man, garbage man, maybe post office worker or something. Like all of the different classes in the game.
Okay, yeah.
You're locked out of some of them because I think one of them is literally just like prostitute. You can't be that one. You can't be secretary. You can't be barista.
This game isn't good. I can't be a barista. I want to work at Starbucks.
You can't be chef either. Oh my gosh, it's so ridiculous. So, anyways, you're the hero of the game, like you specifically. And so because of that, you find your sword in the stone. So you go around the game and you find the sword in the stone in the middle of the street, but it's not a sword. Instead of the sword in the stone, it's the bat in the concrete. So there's this bat that's been. It's a metal baseball bat.
When you said bat, the first thing I thought was the animal, and I'm like, I'm so confused right now. And then I figured it out.
Oh my gosh. Oh yeah, it's a baseball bat stuck in concrete. So you pull it out, and then everyone starts cheering because you pulled it out, and that means you're the chosen one. It's fantastic.
And then everyone claps. Let's see.
Yeah, it was incredible. And then the rest of the game, like you're doing it. Oh, and because you're okay, so the point, one of the big things in the game is that you're a Yakuza and you're going around town like beating up thugs and stuff and members of different rival gangs. But you have an overactive imagination, so all of the rival gang people become like evil like things. Like at one point in the game, you fight a dragon, and it's because you got knocked in the head, and you're only like half awake.
So you're actually crazy.
Yeah, so you finish the fight and you come out of it, and all of your friends are like, "Are you okay? Like you got like seriously knocked out. Like I don't know."
Yeah. Like you destroyed that guy, dude. Like.
Yeah, it's like you keep talking about dragons. I don't understand like what you're doing. Like this is you're being weird, man. You need to just like get up, and I don't know. It's hilarious. Okay, so let's see. I'm gonna go through the rest of them quickly. Okay, so the magic system is really interesting. So the magic system is done through homeless people. So all of the magic in the game, it's usually fire spells. That's the main one. And what happens is all of the so you have poison attacks and fire attacks, and the poison attacks are because your homeless men haven't brushed their teeth in like years, and so they just breathe on people, and that's the poison attack that you're able to cast. But they also love to drink liquor. So if they drink liquor, they can actually spew it at the enemy and make a fireball, and that's your fire spell that you can attack.
What even is
that you
this
can
game?
use to attack them. Oh, I'm not even
this
done
sounds
yet.
like
okay,
the
so
perfect game for you, and I understand why you like it. But for me, I'm like, what?
So there's also Pokemon in the game, but they're not actual Pokemon. They're okay. I'll be done with the homeless thing in a minute. But there's a whole bunch of homeless men you have to capture around the city, and then those are the Pokedex
are you building up like a homeless mafia?
I wish. So you're only building up your Pokedex. Like there's the whole plot line is that there's a crazy scientist who wants you to like do research on these people. So you'll go up to people and you'll find like men who have like a trench coat on and they're trying to flash women. And that's one of the Pokemon you have to collect. And then there's just like homeless people in bandages because they just got out of the hospital. And that's another, like, it's just like this weird system. Let me see. Why did I put treasure hunting on? Oh yeah. So there's a treasure hunting system. And the treasure hunting in the game is you looking for pennies under vending machines because you're very poor, and that's the whole treasure hunting game. That one wasn't super interesting. Oh yeah, the fire resistance. I was putting these on there as I was playing the game, so they're kind of just one-offs. They aren't like super important.
Okay.
The fire resistant accessories are oven mitts because they keep you from being hot. So you have to put oven mitts on your character that you buy at the store to make sure that they don't get burned.
So this game, so everything you're describing, everything feels incredibly disjointed, and maybe it isn't in the game, but the way you're describing it makes it feel like they were like, "Hey guys, what can you think of next?" Like they were in the writer's room and they were just like, "All right, first thing that comes to mind, let's go."
It's oh my gosh, it's so ridiculous. I think you're right. Like it's the funniest.
It definitely doesn't feel cohesive.
Oh yeah, it definitely is, which is the weird part. Like you wouldn't think it. Okay, so I put first boss here. I don't remember what the first boss was. I know that at some point in the game you fight a tiger, and another point in the game you fight a large Roomba, like a big vacuum cleaner. I don't. Oh! I remember what this was. Oh, this is the best boss. Okay, so you're playing the game, and the whole point is like you're collecting friends, and you fight these things with your friends because it's an anime game, and that's how all anime games go. The first boss is a guy driving a crane, like a caterpillar crane with like a big like scoop on it and everything. And you've been punching everyone up until this up until this thing, and it's literally just this giant machine where the guy's like soldered inside, so you can't like attack him. And your friends just look at you like, what are we supposed to do? Like it's a giant crane. He's like, I don't know, just punch it. Just punch the giant machine. So you just go to the crane and you just start punching.
Oh my god.
It's the dumbest thing.
I mean, so that's to me, I'm like, oh, okay, that's kind of funny, I guess. But you're dying, dude.
Oh,
you're
man.
Dying describing this.
You were punching a crane. And obviously you don't really do any damage to it. You have to wait till the guy gets out, and then you're like, oh, we can actually fight him now. But your stupid head just decided to punch the crane because you think you're playing a video game. You're crazy through the whole thing. Oh, okay. Last thing I want to mention is business management. So, it's a Japanese game. You know, one of the things I really like about JRPGs, and I don't know if I've mentioned this before, is that they actually usually have good morals to them, which is just something I don't find in a lot of Western ones. Like Western ones, they either like to tell tragic stories or they like to, tell stories of like heroism. In JRPGs, they're usually actually trying to talk about either, friendship, dealing with the idea of God in your life, dealing with, pulling yourself up by your bootstraps and like working hard to achieve what you want. Like that's kind of the whole point of like Dragon Ball Z. Like that was the big one in that one where it's like, what are you trying to do? Well, you're trying to accomplish something big. Well, how are you going to do that? Well, you're going to work really hard. Like the whole series is just about him literally training to fight for like 10 seconds or sometimes an entire season. But like
there's no in between.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's kind of an interesting, like, cool, like, oh, that's nice for kids to see. Like if I'm having a teenager watch something, I'd want them to watch an anime because it has actually really good morals to it. So one of the big themes.
I mean, I don't really consume too much Japanese media, so
yeah, that's again why I don't like Kingdom Hearts, because Kingdom Hearts didn't do that, and I think that's kind of what it was missing.
Dude, but everyone's got light or something like that.
Yeah, you gotta unlock your heart, And
just don't be dark.
Oh, yeah, and also Kyrie doesn't matter. And that's the whole. Yeah. Sorry, I'm still mad about that.
It's okay. You just gotta forgive and forget. So, but you spent like a long time on that business management simulator.
Yeah, so I took about 12 hours of my life and this. I'll just say it again though. So I had I don't know what kind of infection it was. I think I got food poisoning, like really, really bad food poisoning. I could not move except to like run to the bathroom every like 3 hours and then come back and throw as many liquids as I could into my body. For I think 2 to 3 days or something like that.
That's pretty bad.
So yeah, but I love business management games. I don't know if you know that about me. I absolutely love them. So this one was really good. So I told you start as a homeless man, but at some point you meet a character who owns a little shop. She inherited the shop from her dad. She says, yeah, we used to be a large business, but it kind of fell apart. So all we have now is this convenience store. And she's like, I'm not doing a very good job. Honestly, I'm willing to even let you run it if you want to, because I don't know what to do with it and it's failing. And you could not possibly do worse than me. So why don't you give it a shot? And so it starts this whole business management thing. So the serious and amazing part of this is because the whole thing, you go through like 2 or 3 different phases of this. The first phase is like, okay, what, how happy are your employees? What employees are you going to be hiring for it? What shops are you going to buy in order to, start growing your holdings and stuff and making sure your business is fine. And then it switches into shareholders meetings. And so you're actually in front of like a couple people who've invested in your shop, and you have to explain yourself and what you've been doing to them. So it's this funny like combat game where you're actually doing combat with the people. And if you win, then they love you and they start clapping for you.
Oh, does everyone just clap in this game?
Yeah, pretty much. They love clapping. It's a clapping game. Emily loves it though because the best employee that you can hire is a chicken. Okay, it's not the best employee, but it's the most endearing one. So for a while, a chicken was running all of my shareholders meetings, and honestly, was totally loved. That chicken was nailing it, dude. That was the best chicken I've ever hired. Yeah, it was really, really good at their job. Her name was Nugget, and she's just So apparently, I found this out later. Having a chicken in the game is a recurring theme in the Yakuza games. But yeah, so she starts as like the mascot of the business, but I had her running the convenience store at one point, and then I think she was running either a cabaret or a movie theater by the end.
Well, I'm really glad that your business has such upward mobility for its employees.
Thank you.
That's really progressive.
I made sure that I made sure that her job training was really, really good. I made sure to send the chicken on vacations. I gave her a really nice package so that she could start going out to dinners on the weekends, paid for by the business. Like I was taking care of her really, really well. You can also hire, that Roomba I was talking about fighting a little while ago? Yeah. You can actually hire the Roomba to come into your business as well. So he was part of my shareholders meetings too.
Are there humans the Roomba in this wasn't game, or
yeah, I don't know, man. It's a funny. Okay, so that's all I have to say on it. I won't talk your off anymore about Yakuza. But that's the reason why I've lost so many nights to this game. I finally beat it. The ending was incredibly touching. I was actually kind of amazed. It did like a really cool. It went to completely absurd, and then it would kind of pull you really far back to reality, and then it kind of threw you out again. It was this. It was an interesting kind of game, but the whole like overall plot in like a sentence is, you have a really strained relationship with this father figure of yours, and your brother is going off and doing all of these horrible things, and you're desperately trying to bring him back, and then you come to a tragic ending. It was actually a very, very well done plot, but yeah, it was wild. It made me want to play more Yakuza games, so I'm definitely gonna be picking up another one in the future. It was very interesting.
Yeah, well, I'll let you do that, and then you can tell me all about it.
Oh yeah, like that's I think half the reason I like playing these games is because I like telling you about them. Just about how like I enjoy them and everything, and I know you probably won't, or at least you have other stuff to do and you just won't ever get around to it. But I do like you knowing like the basic like broad strokes of these games. I mean, holy crap,
I can understand the appeal of the absurdity of it, and because then you don't really know what's going to come next. It's not nearly as predictable, I feel like. So I definitely do see the appeal in that, but it doesn't quite appeal to me as much.
They do random really well, which I was appreciative of, because I don't like. You remember how I think it was like 10 years ago or so
I know
that
exactly
kind of like shock humor. Yeah, that shock humor got real old real fast, and then little kids started picking it up, and you're like, man, this is bad.
Wait, hang on.
This.
I think we might. What do you mean shock humor? Do you mean like that
shock
whole
humor is
like
the wrong word?
Oh, random. Or
yeah, like it's so random. Shock humor was the wrong word for it.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, just random humor of just like, oh yeah, it's funny because I was holding a gun, but now it's a celery stick. Like that, just that kind of thing. Just being, I don't know. I didn't really enjoy it. I know it found its place on like Adult Swim because I think like the Eric Andre show is totally based around stuff like that. But I didn't really appreciate it. But I did appreciate how in this game they took some absurd ideas. They kind of half explained some. Like I thought that first fight where you're fighting the crane was the funniest thing, because you really do see how his mind is just kind of going. And I don't know. It was funny to see his kind of overactive imagination. But by the time you get to the halfway point, they're not trying to shock you anymore or try to throw more random things in. It just kind of becomes the norm that you have like a large man baby like fighting things. Oh, also I unlocked so like in order to fight, I can either like slap people with cash, I can hit them with my baseball bat, I can ask my chicken to come help me, or I can issue an order to an orbital strike laser to attack the person in front of me.
You can't leave home without your laser to
Oh, totally. But it was fun because that one you had to become the whole business management thing. Sorry, it ends with you having a Fortune 500 company. So the whole point is that like, oh, because you're like a billionaire now, you have this thing that you can.
You basically become
that you
Tony
can have
Stark.
fights.
I got it.
Yeah, you're Elon Musk now. Like you have it, and you can or Tony Stark. Yeah. So it's like there was a thread of logic there that I liked, and I'm glad they kept that. But I've been talking for a super long time. Let's do something that you actually care about now. I would like to know about Noida and Cliff Empire. I want to do Cliff Empire first because I'm actually more interested in Noida. Like I actually do have some serious interest in that. But tell me about Cliff Empire because I have no idea what that is.
That was a game. I can't remember where I got it from, but it's just by some Russian developer, and it's a small like city management game.
Okay.
Where Earth is a nuclear wasteland, and so they built up these giant towers, like these cliffs that you live on, and you need to try and repopulate Earth while by living on these cliffs. And so it's really simple, really basic, and easy, but So I played it for a while, and I don't know, I just played it for like a Sunday, like 8 hours on a Sunday, because I was just like, I just can't put this down, and then I put it down, and I never came back to it.
Wait, so what's the combat, or not the combat? What's the mechanic? Like, what is it?
City management. You put down buildings, and then you manage it. I don't know how else to describe it.
I'm looking at pictures right now. Oh, this is beautiful. Is that a Stargate?
Yeah. So you can like trade resources to make money, and you have different areas of the cliff, and each one has different levels of resources. So you need to try and balance your resources between different cliffs, and then also sell off excess products so you can actually make money.
Okay.
And yeah, that's basically the entire game. End game, it gets kind of boring, and it's not terribly difficult, at least on like normal difficulty. So I don't see a need to come back to it at any point. And there's not updates coming for it, so it's a finished game.
It's really hard with games like this to keep them interesting the entire time. I can't even the good ones. Like, okay, so that I'm like super, crazy about like Civilization.
Yeah.
Which is obviously different. Like it's not a city manager. It's more of a, it's on the empire level that you're kind of dealing with things. But with all the games like that, it's either the early game super slow and boring, or the mid game is like super, super slow, or the end game falls on its face. Like there's a million like pacing problems that you run into with games like this. It's really, I don't know, it's too bad. It makes me really appreciate games like Age of Empires, because Age of Empires is not a city building game, even though it has, like,
yeah, it's an empire building game, Tim.
Yeah. But it's got like hints of city management stuff kind of in there. Like you can definitely optimize the way you're building.
Well, yeah, and it's you have a whole economy macro where you have to like actually make sure you have the right amount of people on each resource to support your army.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And they do it so quickly, and the end game obviously feels like absolutely incredible. But they make sure that you're fully engaged the entire time. Where I feel like whenever I play a city manager, and I don't think I have any exceptions to this, I'm always bored halfway through. Like maybe at the end it picks up, but in the middle it's always a slog. And I don't know, it's really hard to get over that.
I find mid game the most interesting for a lot of city management games, because that's when you really start to understand the mechanics, and that's when you start to really scale out and up a lot more. So that's, I think, when
that's fair.
When they get the most interesting. So
I can see that.
But yeah,
I think I'm mostly thinking of Civilization.
Oh yeah, I could see that.
Sorry, you go ahead.
But Cliff Empire was pretty simplified,
in Civilization.
So.
It was very simplified. So sorry.
Yeah.
Let me finish my thought. Oh, sorry, Jake. 1 sec.
Dinner's done in about 20 minutes.
Okay.
And your company got back to Nate, so he was going to ask you about the assessment thing.
Oh, they sent him an assessment. Yeah. Perfect. Okay, cool. It's terrible. Tell him that first. Oh, okay. Yeah.
What?
Okay, sorry. Corey's boyfriend Nate's applying to the company that I got a job at.
Oh, really?
And he's all freaked out about it. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about that.
Anyways. Oh, yeah, we do need to talk about that. We got something to talk about. What was I saying? Oh yeah, let me just because I kept talking over you so much, it's going to sound weird if I don't mention Civilization at the end. With just really quickly with the Civilization mid game, a lot of it is just waiting for your resources to tick up enough to do something else. Because what you're really trying to do is in the mid game, what you're doing is you're waiting until the end game. Like you're trying to get there. Because the end game is like, the nuclear missiles and the United Nations and stuff that you're trying to build towards, or like, spreading your religion as much as possible. But there's not like combat is more of a nuisance mid game than it is like a serious threat.
Well, anyways, to compare back to Age of Empires, I feel like you're really just trying to make sure you set yourself up for a better end game. So I think that's where the challenge and the puzzle comes in. So,
oh yeah, totally. And again, like I do like the mid game in Age of Empires. I really do.
Well, yeah, that game.
I think that one was
just good. So, but back to Cliff Empire, it was just really simplified. You did unlock some neat buildings. You eventually unlock buildings that, well, actually, so interestingly, I didn't ever complete like, because so something they would do is they'd have that checklist, like, oh, build this type of building, as the basic tutorial. But for some reason, I can't remember which one it was. I never did something that kept the tutorial progressing. And so I wasn't really unlocking new buildings because of that. But then once I finally did that one thing, it opened up challenges. So I had to like get a certain amount of goods in a certain amount of time, which is also really, really hard. And I don't think they were done very well because you get fined if you don't have the certain amount of, I don't know, maybe it's encouraging you to balance your eco, so to speak, or your good production. But you did unlock some interesting stuff because you run out of space very quickly. You are very confined on space, but you unlock expensive buildings that can be built on the side of the cliffs. So that does ease up a little bit. And then you can also get some stuff that gets resources from underneath on the radioactive wasteland underneath. So you do get some interesting buildings, but...
Wait, is there radioactivity under every cliff?
Well, your cliffs are like above the radioactive like fog.
Got it. Oh, okay. That's kind of the point of the game. You can't build on the ground.
Yeah. So that's why it's called Cliff Empire, is because you're building on these giant cliffs.
Got it.
So, yeah.
Nice. It's a really beautiful game.
It looks great, yeah.
Like, yeah, it looks fantastic.
Very, very
I really
pretty.
like the way the farms look. Yeah, it's got this nice contrast. Like, it's obviously like either... Is it going for snow? Is that the idea behind it? That's all snow?
I'm not
like
sure, to be honest.
Or something?
But...
Okay. Well, at the very least, it looks hazy. Looks super hazy.
Well, that's
like
probably
that with
because of the nuclear wasteland part of it.
Oh yeah, I like it with the green of the plants. It's very, very pretty.
Yeah, it was. I did just honestly play most of it on like the fastest speed though, just because it's that kind of game. But so yeah, I recommend for an afternoon, but I can't really recommend it after that. And that's all I had to say.
Nice. All right, I would like a quick break, really quick. Also because like I think I only have like 2 topics left that I really want to talk about.
Okay.
And then I don't really care after that. But I gotta use the restroom really quick. So
okay,
break time. There are. I don't really have much to say on Hades yet. I have not beaten it.
You haven't played it in a while.
I know. I haven't. And part of the problem is that I found out how it ended. I got that spoiled for me, and I'm like, oh, I don't like. I'm still gonna play it. I really want to because I don't know the details. But I was a little upset about that.
Yeah, that can be pretty. What's the word? Disheartening, I guess. Can kind of
it just kind of
to play it.
Takes the wind out of the sails and stuff.
Speaking of wind and sails.
Well, hold on. We will do that topic,
but
really quick.
You gotta stop killing my transitions.
Oh yeah,
they're so good.
I want to get rid of Origami King, Paper Mario Origami King on here. I want you to know I did enjoy that game. That's the first game I've 100%ed in a long time. I just finished 100%ing it a couple days ago with Emily. Well, it's because she was into it too, so we were going back and forth, like getting this thing done. That had this horrible feeling where there was a secret ending that you get afterwards. But it fell on its face so hard, and you felt so empty afterwards. So we all finished and we're like, man, I really wish I hadn't 100%ed that game, because like, it was a really good game, but the secret ending was like, oh, this doesn't make anything better. Like it kind of makes it worse. Anyways, I'm sorry.
That's a shame.
Speak. So Wind and Sails.
Yeah. Speaking of Wind and Sails, we tried Sea of Thieves as a group with us and some other friends, which is basically a kind of cartoony pirate game, and it's fun with friends, but I got a taste of some of the more end game stuff you can do, and it wasn't as fun as I was expecting.
Do you mind saying what that end game stuff was? Because I was curious about that.
It was just
I'm like,
grindy.
This is... okay, yeah.
And because I'm not a fan of the PvP combat in the game, or not PvP, PvE. So like the skeletons you find around, I'm not a fan of it. I don't think it's a good system. And one of the things you can do for the biggest loot is this giant island in the middle of the map where you have to get like a special type of key to unlock it. And then you have to defend your position from other players while you also fight these skeletons in the middle. And so you have to do this really long and hard battle. And it's just not fun. And you get tons of loot from it, but it's just boring. And I'm sure there's other stuff you can do for loot, like, actually PvPing people and getting their loot, or you can sail around looking for like just stuff on islands, do missions and quests and all that. But at the end of the day, it feels so shallow.
I felt the exact same way. Like it's the some of the stuff in there is great. Maybe I should say almost great, because I keep thinking back. I'm like, okay, I did like the deep sea diving stuff, but I've seen it done better by Assassin's Creed, and I don't know. Like it was fine. I guess that one I didn't have a huge problem with. The combat was, I don't know, man. Just everything about it was like, it was pretty good. Like it was a great start. I really did enjoy it for quite a while. But you're right. It just kind of, I don't know, not falls on its face. It just,
it's not a game I can play a lot of. And
it's like driving a car that's like running out of gas while you're driving it, and you can feel it.
It's not even necessarily that for me. It's just more so, you're driving a car. I don't know if I can make that analogy work.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe not go with that analogy.
It's like
anymore.
You're driving a car with a flat tire, and your power steering pump broke, and so you're like, it just feels weird. Everything felt kind of jank. Like nothing felt as smooth as it should, and I don't know. Because when I'm coming off of a game like Apex Legends, where everything is everything has a smoothness to it. Animations are great. The guns feel great. The movement is great. And then you go to Sea of Thieves and you're like, oh, I mean, I get that we're pirates. So we're not like in the future.
Hold on, Jake. 1 sec.
Cheddar, pepper jack, or white cheddar?
It doesn't matter. Pepper jack, I guess. Sorry, she keeps like messing straight into the room. It's okay. Normally it's fine. It's just we happen to be recording.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so coming from a game like that to Sea of Thieves, and granted they're different time periods, Apex Legends is in the future and all that, but it's just, it can be so jarring, and you'd be like, oh, well, I mean, you could actually work on this a little more and make it feel better, couldn't you?
Yeah. I mean, you're absolutely right. Everyone, I don't know, like I didn't love the way the NPC, or not even the NPCs, just the character design in general. Like I was like, it looks kind of fine, but I also kind of hate it.
I was fine with that.
But regardless, they look kind of like puppets. That's kind of how I started thinking about everything. I'm like, well, this movement makes sense if we are a puppet, because it feels bad and like it works.
I feel like the whole that works with the game design and the art, or the art directions more so. I feel like that description works like that.
It does. I don't know. I guess I don't know. It's funny because I don't know if you ever played Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Did you?
I didn't know.
Okay, well, half of that game was really good. Like the assassin part was terrible, but the pirate ship stuff was incredible. Like it was really, really good.
Well, I really like that part of it though, where you actually are working together as a team. Because if you have like a full ship and you have one person not doing stuff, then you're actually hurting, because you just need more manpower. So
yeah, it was incredible. That was one thing that Assassin's Creed obviously didn't have. That it's an amazing thing. Like that, the sea shanty thing with just the music, which I just think is a wonderful addition to the game. And I have something funny to tell you, by the way. But that along with the combat was actually really fun. Like the combat itself wasn't fantastic. Like especially like when you're one-on-one, like on an island. I didn't love the way that felt. It's over very, very quickly. You always just feel like you are definitely the loser because they know the one cool trick that you don't know. Maybe I just didn't spend enough time with it, but the like ship to ship thing and being able to like jump on people's ships and trail them off in different directions and throw their stuff overboard and just all the different ways you can mess with them was really, really fun. They definitely did nail that. There was good stuff in there, like super good stuff. I wanted to tell you. So one night, I think I was drinking with Alex, which is, first of all, that's the best big opening to any story you could possibly tell. But I got really, like, I didn't realize how wasted I was. But I opened up Sea of Thieves and I got drunk with Michael in Sea of Thieves right after. I gotta stop using names, but I got drunk with one of our friends right afterwards in that game, like as the character.
Oh god. And that must have been so bad.
Man, it was terrible. I immediately stopped and I was like, dude, I'm sorry, I can't play this with you. He's like, you had a lot, didn't you? I was like, yeah, this is not good.
Dude, I could barely handle that while sober.
Oh my goodness! Just the drunkenness makes the screen spin, and the room is already spinning.
And
oh,
you can't even
man,
walk straight in game, so it feels like real life.
Yeah, I think I was drinking brandy too, which was not a.
Ooh, yikes!
Yeah, it was not a good one.
I don't think I've ever really had.
Well, it was
brandy.
all I had left. So I bought it a while ago for some reason. I don't remember exactly why I bought it, but it was in the back of my whole stash because all of it's gone. Like, I haven't bought alcohol in a really long time.
Oh yeah, you had like a giant stash, didn't you? For some reason,
I did. It's all gone.
Oh wow,
like all of it. Yeah, I drank. I mean, it's taken me like 2 years to drink.
Oh yeah,
it, but it's all gone.
I got this bottle of rum that I haven't even touched in a couple years. I had one bad experience with it, and now I'm like, don't really like the taste anymore.
That's too bad. Yeah. Rum hits me nicely.
Like, yeah, I think it was you who recommended rum, and so I'm like, oh yeah, I'll buy a bottle of rum. And now I'm like, well, I could finish the other half at some point, but
what if you don't want it?
But one day I'll get it.
Oh yeah,
maybe like another year, it probably won't be too bad.
There's only really one last thing that I really wanted to talk about. And that was Crusader Kings, and not in the way that you're thinking.
Oh no.
It's okay. We've already talked about the game. The one thing I do want to mention about the game. So I don't know if we've talked about Crusader Kings on here before. Crusader Kings, it's a huge game made by Paradox. The entire point of the game is you are playing as a ruler. You can be any of the rulers around, or you can create your own and everything. And then you're like following the lineage through time and stuff. And you're making all of these large commands to, take over different little areas around you and hopefully grow your territory, and maybe you can marry into another family and take their kingdom by romancing them and stuff. You can do all these different things. But what I loved about the game, and the reason I stuck it on here, is because I've never understood the mind of a king so well as I did when I played Crusader Kings, and I really appreciated it for that. So when you're reading history books, you'll read about rulers that were either cruel or, just super despotic or crazy or incredibly kind.
Okay.
And I noticed in the game, and they did a really good job with the mechanics, because they feel very good and they're trying really hard to stay like rooted to reality as much as possible. There's benefits to being a benevolent ruler where everyone loves you, but there's also drawbacks, and you get a whole set of like new interesting things to play with if you're playing as a despotic person than you are as someone who like all of the peasantry loves. And it's really interesting because like, you're playing through the game and then all of a sudden you're like, you know what, it would probably be like literally the best thing for everyone around if I were to just murder my brother. Like, and then you start seriously considering that, and you're like, yeah, this is probably the best thing I could do. Like, it would keep the kingdom together. There wouldn't be a whole bunch of civil wars. Thousands of people would be able to live if he just dies. And you can make that happen through like 5 or 6 different ways. Or maybe you're playing as some. I mean, I made a really big joke when we first started playing the game where I always check. I'm like, okay, am I gay? Because that's one of the things with your characters. Yeah, that's right. And it leads to interesting things down the road. I'm like, okay, so am I a gay character? Am I a straight character? Like, how am I going to play this? Like, what's my character going to be doing? Because your character has like a bit of a mind of their own, because they're supposed to be like their own person. Yeah. And the relationships that you develop if you're playing as one of the gay rulers is totally different than how they'd be as you're playing with one of the straight ones. Maybe if you're a straight ruler, you're marrying just for love, and maybe that's a bad thing because that could be terrible for all of the people under you. But if you're a gay ruler, that could be really good, because then it's totally understood that this whole marriage is just like you're just finding either a friend, or maybe it's just someone you don't know that's just really good for the whole kingdom that you're trying to build. Like, more people live if you marry not for love, like if love is not a part of it at all. And it's just, I don't know, it was just the most fascinating thing. And you're like, oh, like I get why a king would torture someone. I get why they would kill someone. I get why they declare a war on their mother. I get, yeah, like it just made a lot of sense. And I'm like, man, I'm really glad that this game exists, because it made me understand history more. Like, I actually felt a teensy bit of a connection with all of like the old English rulers, because all of their actions made more sense to me. There's a really good movie, and I will not spend a lot of time talking about this, just like a paragraph or two. There was a movie that Netflix came out with a while ago about the life of Henry V. And the whole movie was about how what had happened was he never wanted to be king. and he was thrown into it. And then once he was thrown into it, people in his court started lying to him, say, hey, the French are horrible. They're insulting you. They think you're terrible. They're going to kill you.
Those French people, man.
Yeah. That was the whole 100-Year War. He was part of the 100-Year War whole thing. And so because of those actions, he declares war. And then once he declares war, he ends up marrying the French princess. So he brings her over, and the whole end of the movie is her going like, yeah, you're a horrible fascist dictator. And he was like, I was just like controlling I was just trying to help my people out. And you just start seeing both sides of it. And that was what this whole game felt like, is how these actions have all of these reactions. And you do them because you have to. Even if you seem crazy, it's because you have good reason to think that everybody wants you dead. And I don't know. It was just really cool. I really appreciated it from a history standpoint. And that game holds a special place in my heart now. So thank you again for letting me ramble on about that for a minute.
You say all that?
Yeah.
And yet I cannot stand watching you play that game.
It's a very boring game to watch.
No, not because it's boring. It's fun to even watch, but you are not reading stuff. Because if you hover over options, it can sometimes tell you like what it actually entails in a numbers sense, a sense of numbers, and you're just like, oh, I'll just skim over the options and then pick one. And so in that sense, I was like, dude, you literally have no idea what that option does that you just picked.
Well, okay, so the game,
so
it's not as, it's probably a little bit more clear cut than what you're thinking. You know that you don't necessarily know what these options are going to do, but usually if you're like, okay, so one of the options is it's like two people will come to you and they'll say they're having a disagreement, and you have to pick one. And so you can pick one because they seem to be in the right. You can pick one because they seem to be in the right. But if you know who these people are in your kingdom, then there's probably one that you need to like you more. So you have to pick that option. So you start learning over time. You start clicking through them quickly.
But at the same time, like if you pick one person, so say you pick person 1, person 2 might dislike you. They might like minus 20%. But maybe if you choose 2, then one will only do like minus 15%. So there's like a lot of numbers like that I feel like you never took the time to look at, which is different to the way I would play a game like that, where I'd actually, I'd spend time and be like, what's the best option? What's the best option?
Oh yeah. You're much more of a min-maxer than I am. Yeah. I'm a lot more emotional with my picks.
Yeah. So
I like to play it that way, but again, it's the way that I like to think of my kings. These emotional creatures.
I do have to say, though,
I do.
That makes for the best like conversations out of context, though. Like
some
of the actions you have to do in game, and just hearing you say them out loud is just fantastic.
I love it. Am I gay now? Who am I going to kill? Oh, my mother's going to war with me. I better not do that. I'm sleeping with him.
Oh man. So
I didn't know that. What?
So if I kill my wife, I can marry again. And this will get me more territory.
Oh, yeah, that's the best part. I'm like, okay, I'm going to marry her now, but I'm going to assassinate her next week. Because like that's the best feeling. Oh yeah, and those options are like, well, like if you were a ruler, because if you're a monarch over anything, those options or those are real things you could consider because they have such huge consequences. Like even though it seems like such a crazy thing to consider, and it's like, wow. I'm sure that every monarch or dictator in the world has had those crazy thoughts of like, dude, I'm not going to do this, but like that would make my life so much easier. And it's really fun to explore that.
Sure, everyone has those kind of thoughts.
Oh man. It's a good time. All right, I'm taking that one off the list. We no longer need to say anything about that. All right, you got 2 more. Can I ask you to only do 1 more because I got stuff to do, and we still have to have a conversation after this one.
Oh yeah, no, I was thinking. Should probably even wrap it up. I don't have. I guess you did want to hear about Noida. I don't have much to say on it because I haven't played it that much.
So I didn't really have a strong opinion on it when I first saw you playing this game. It was after hearing a few more people talk about it and how interesting it is and how they got me more hyped for the game, essentially.
Yeah, I definitely probably didn't do a good job on that. I'm not good about hyping things up like that.
You're good. But I was curious about like how you like the overall experience. Like the whole point of Noida is that it's a kind of a pixel art kind of game, but every single pixel has physics assigned to it. So it makes for some really like smoke is actually smoke, and fire is actually fire.
Smoke, so wood can burn, and then you have actual pixels that are fire that can produce smoke, and then smoke can also like get trapped up in the roof ceiling, and you can have like a pocket of air that isn't oxygenated. So if you go up there and stay up there too long, you might run out of oxygen and die. And you can see all this, and the you can set tons of things on fire. You can explode the terrain, and it makes the whole game feel very dynamic. But the whole premise behind it is that it's a roguelike. So you're starting with a wand that has randomized out of like 3 options of spells. And then you try and find more wands that have spells attached to them. But the big kicker is that these wands have certain attributes, like how much mana they have, but they also have slots for different spells you can put on them, and you can mix and match spells between stages. And so you can say, oh, well, this is a modifier that fires 3 spells at once, but I also have a modifier over here that shoots 3 projectiles. Or sorry, not a modifier. I have a spell that shoots 3 projectiles. Well, if I combine those, then I get 9 projectiles at once. So
nice.
You can, so the whole, you have hundreds of different spells and modifiers, so you mix and match, and that's where the replayability comes from, is that you're always looking for interesting combos, and a lot of them can be incredibly deadly to you. So it's actually
a really cool thing.
Quite a hard game too.
That sounds. Is there anything like, okay, so if you're playing a run, is there anything that carries over into the future runs at all?
Not that I know of. I don't think you unlock new spells just by like doing challenges like some games, like Risk of Rain. I think that it's just, you unlock it in your little codex if you found it before.
Okay. What's the point of the game? Like, is there a plot to it? I'm assuming there's a plot
I think
to
there's
it.
an ending to the game. But I've only gotten through not even half the stages yet. Because like I said, it's hard and I haven't played it too much yet, but it definitely feels like a very dynamic game because of the fact that you can destroy terrain and such.
Well, I think that's about all the time we have. Jacob, thank you so much for talking with me again. And I'm hoping that the next time we record, it won't be 2 months from last time we recorded. I can't believe this is the only time we can find to record together.
Busy until June.
Oh no. Oh no.